What's up, everyone? Blake Sloan here with Anthony Shabilia. Amazing success story, super proud of, super excited about. And I just want to tell your story a little bit. It just came off a huge week, 3 under contract last week, right? Mass momentum, 2 in 1 day. And that's only, we got to shoot something with this. And this is an amazing story. One of the coolest ones that we've had here as an organization, because most people may not know, Anthony was our very first hire at Sloan Realty Group as a company in 2008. So that was crazy, right? We worked hand in hand together. And life comes on, then 2012, 2013, moved on to general brokerage, couple different brokerages. And we were talking to Jim the other morning. He's like, man, you go to these brokerages, this is what made me want to film this, is 2 main things. Number one, to really talk about the success Anthony's had. Been back almost 3 months, right? 7 under contract, 3 in the last week, just last week. What's been the biggest experience, the thing that you felt just being back and being back plugged in?
I think just being in a situation where there's daily accountability, there's the proper training, a non-competing broker, obviously, that is dedicated essentially 24/7 and helping all the agents be successful in what they do on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's one of the things, like, of us, we were talking, and he's been plugged into us in the morning in the gym, and really just seeing this huge change already, just from culturally, right? And it's not something that we do in particular, it's just how we live in a way. But we were talking to Jim, he said, man, I'm bouncing around a couple different places and just watch a lot of general brokerage stuff out there in general. And you made this really important point that so much has changed in the last, let's say, 10 years of, let's say, 2015, 2016. Share that, what you were just sharing with me about how many people just still operate the old way, expecting it to work, and it's not still working.
Just the way that the consumer responds to the agent, the things that they're looking for, the thing that they value. It's, over the years, it's evolved. At the end of the day, it's all the same. They want to build that trust with the agent, but getting in there and building that trust is completely different than it used to be. And I think that you guys have really cracked the code on how to get in there and be successful dealing with the general public.
I appreciate that. And it's one of the things that we were in the treadmill just talking, and we were talking about life and different things, catching up. And he's made this point where he was like, man, I don't realize why all these other agents don't do it. And I was like, I don't know if they just think it's too good to be true or certain things. You made this point that I think that a lot of people just feel like every brokerage is the same, right? Or you made that point on there. What would you say to anybody out there? Because you said, dude, I've been around the block. I've seen different places and been around and had people that competed against me, and it felt like it wasn't the right lead flow. Talk about that, where a lot of people are just so skeptical of certain things, like what it's like to be different places and realize there is actually a difference, and how much more energy and accomplishment you've had in a very short period of time with just plugging in.
I think for me personally, the reason I knew I was going to be successful here is I felt really uncomfortable for about the first 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think people they've sold, they're successful, they've been successful where they were before, but they just get complacent. And they think it's the market, or it's the interest rates, or it's this, or it's that. And in reality, it's just not evolving, more than likely, and not putting your trust in someone who is dedicated to evolving in the industry like you have.
I appreciate that. And that was something we were talking about a minute ago. Is, man, the first few weeks was kind of just different. You're comfortable. You made this thing where you just say, I realized I needed to grow more, right? To be able to keep up. And what would you say that's been like so far for you? Is there obviously people leading from the front and actual newer age stuff, the opportunity to learn? What would you say to that type of stuff compared to what you've seen just in general in the past?
I would say my personal experience is getting my mind and my body on track, and so that my business and everything kind of followed suit. Getting rid of the burnout aspect, working on personal development, really focusing on the things around me, so that when I can dig into work, I feel like I have the ability to expand on what I already know.
Yeah, dude, I can already see physically change in you being here, right? Certainty change, energy change, confidence change. You just in a big way in a short period of time of that. And so what would you say to anybody out there that's looked us up or found us online or whatever it is, and is like, hey, I'm super skeptical. They think that everything's the same, but they're seeing the success stories and certain things. Like, what would you say to anybody out there that's super skeptical?
You have to take a chance. If you're someone that's struggling and you want to change up your business, I can tell you from just the first meeting that you did, the weekly meetings, I've been to real estate conferences that weren't that valuable. And that's every weekend, week out. I'm taking away things that I usually paid thousands of dollars to get. A lot of people are worried about, oh, I'm 100% split here or 90% there. And that's really the wrong thing that you should be focused on as an agent, whether you're new or experienced.
And that's one thing that the world hearing that, and one of those things where you can have one little fire or you can have one big fire. And it's much easier to have one big fire together, I think, where we can all grow. It's much more enjoyable. You have people to bounce things off, watch, and have energy. And so very appreciative of you, man. So cool to have you back, be part of it. More importantly, just Super excited about this success, and obviously 3-1 week. I feel the mass momentum, so can't wait to see you next video. Thanks a lot.
Sounds good.